Real Madrid is going to be facing Malaga in their third game of this La Liga season, and we're going to be staying at the Santiago Bernabeu for this one. Of course, Malaga being the first newly promoted side that we are going to be facing in this season so far. And this is a special one for me, kinda, because of course, my name is Isco, and if you didn't know, I love Isco, he's my favorite player. And where did he finally make his name? Where was that first, thought and mentions that he was getting? It was, of course, Malaga, where he had that crazy season. This is, of course, gonna be a really expected win from Real Madrid. We're not gonna sugarcoat it at all. We're gonna look at the game. I'm gonna, say what I expect from our players, what I expect from their team as well. And then we're gonna build our own starting lineup for this game. And of course, I'm gonna give my scoreline prediction, as well as looking at Malaga's and Real Madrid's game all throughout the video as well. So please, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, comment your thoughts on the game, and comment your prediction down below. Thank you so much for watching. Even if you don't do that, I still appreciate you. Now, what I want to talk about, actually, if you can see it here, Real Madrid have never lost to Malaga at the Bernabeu in 9 meetings, winning 7 and only drawing twice, which is kind of crazy because we have lost at least once to a lot of clubs in Spanish football, honestly. So Malaga not even getting once in the Bernabeu. Hopefully we can make that record even bigger and make it winning 8 in 10 matches, of course. Now, the predicted lineup is Courtois, Carreras, Huijsen, Konate, Dumfries, Bernardo Silva, Valverde, Bellingham, Goulart, Vinicius, and Kylian Mbappe. I can already say this, my lineup is going to be different. It's a little bit different, of course. I think these lineups are just made by the last match or the highest probability, but I'm going to be having a completely different lineup. And I'm not going to act like I watched Malaga last season too much. I maybe seen 2 games, and I saw their game against Atletico. So far, they have looked... they have looked okay. Of course, getting the first La Liga game against Atletico is a bit unlucky. They, of course, lost 2-0. They didn't really have, too much to do. They had 1 shot on target. And, I wasn't really impressed with anybody too much. I think their best player for this game was... not actually Dotar. It was, for me, at least Lorenzo, when I was watching it. But they just got absolutely cooked by Atletico. It's in their home ground. That was absolutely expected. And then they have, I would say, a okay result against Deportivo La Coruña, 1-1 draw. But if you want to stay up in La Liga, you need to be beating those teams that came up with you from Segunda. So I already don't like how Malaga has started. I think Deportivo will actually be staying. That was also in my, preseason predictions. But in this game, I want to talk about one thing. Malaga did create a lot of chances, especially when it came down to the second half. And they had 23 touches in the opposition box, which I like. This is a huge stat against Real Madrid. If they can replicate at least a little bit, we could be having problems. So let's not underestimate Malaga. I know they're newly promoted. We should be 100% beating them, but please be on it, because any team that has a lot of touches in the opposition's box, which they didn't have too many against Atletico, but you're expecting that to happen as well. Don't underestimate that. If we let them go into our box, they can do something. They can definitely do something. They'll, their goal scoring ability, that's another thing. I don't think they can truly hurt us, but anything other than a win in this game would be embarrassing, even though I have mentioned that they can do something. I saw some positives in those games. Real Madrid should 100% be winning this game. And how's that going to happen? If we're going to play like we did in the second half of the Real Sociedad game. Absolutely sensational from Jude Bellingham. Cucurella came on, absolutely sensational as well. Valverde looked much better. Konate and Huijsen looked solid defensively, but the attack improved so much in the second half, especially Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius, and Bellingham. Even though Vinicius didn't have the greatest of games, he got the goal. He got a really nice assist to Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe, finishing in the second half was immaculate. Other than comparing it to the first half, which it was just bad. Vinny and him had so many chances, and the other players as well had so many chances. We were taking too long to finish, and when we finally had the chance to finish, we didn't finish our chances. Second half, for me, if we play like that the whole season, we have a real shot at winning La Liga this season, because that was absolutely sensational in terms of build-up, getting the ball back, winning second balls, and in the attack, leaving it simple. not overcomplicating things, which we were doing a lot in the first half. My very big criticism was that, of course, we created chances, but that's expected, even against Real Sociedad, because we were playing at home. We should be still creating chances, but when we did create them, Arda Güler gave the ball to Jude Bellingham on the just outside the box. Then he gives it to Vinny, he gives it to Valverde, he gives it to Jude, he does a fake shot, then he gives it to Arda, he maybe crosses it, and then we lose the ball. Sometimes what I would like to see more from Real Madrid is that simplicity. Give the ball to Jude, 1-2, maybe try a shot. If it doesn't happen, fair enough. Vinicius, beat your man, try something. Not cut back or pass it to Carreras, then he recycles it. We did so many recycled balls in that first half, which were absolutely pointless. I remember Dumfries got the ball, in terms of here on the pitch against Real Sociedad. Suddenly passes it back. We recycle it to Vinicius. We give it to Bellingham. He looks for Mbappe. He isn't there. Passes it back to Valverde. He gives it to Bernardo Silva. He gives it to Güler. It was so pointless. And what we did sensationally well in the second half was just, the goal where Kylian Mbappe gave the ball to Bellingham. Even before that, we have Cucurella on the side. Cucurella gives it to Valverde. He gives it to Mbappe. Mbappe, quick 1-2 with Jude Bellingham, slots it into the net. Honestly, that's how we need to be playing out those attacking situations, simplistically and quickly, not overcomplicating it and not looking for flashy passes or crazy, situations, because if we give Arda Güler a simple pass, he's gonna do it. If we give Jude Bellingham a 1-2, he's gonna do it. If there's space for Kylian Mbappe, he's gonna find it. But we need to be quicker in attack and be more clinical. For the defense, I just have, the biggest difference for me in the defense was already not how the players played, but who was on the pitch in the second half. Because yes, Dumfries wasn't the best in the game. He still holds up at his own physically. Then Konate and Huijsen for me were really good. And then, of course, Cucurella came on, which it was just such a game changer, When you have a player that's actually confident, has that positioning, is more experienced, Cucurella looked much better than Carreras. And that's how I think we will improve defensively. So I'm not too worried about the defensive side. I think the midfield looked good. We could be seeing some changes into the midfield as well. But I thought that Bernardo Silva, it was an okay game. I would have expected a little bit more attacking-wise. I think some recoveries were made as well. He had some nice tackles, but he held the ball a lot in that game. Fede Valverde was much, much better in that game. But still, I see something different with this midfield, and I think we need to get somebody off the bench and start him in this game, because this is the perfect game to actually give him those, first minutes from that starting 11. And this is gonna be my starting lineup. As I said, I think it's time to let Diomande finally play from the start. I'm gonna mention the whole lineup, and I'm gonna talk about, especially, I have 3 points about the players I want to speak about the most. Courtois, self-explanatory. The same goes for Huijsen, Konate. Then we have a double change in the fullbacks. I think Trent needs to be starting against Malaga. More creativity, way better on the ball. He's gonna have more time on the ball than against, for example, Real Sociedad or Espanyol away. And Dumfries, I think he's better against, some team that is gonna be pushing us, maybe plays for a lot of set pieces. Dumfries is going to be better there. But versus Malaga, when we're supposed to be dominating the ball a lot and we're playing at home, give Trent those minutes. Cucurella, self-explanatory. He's just better than Carreras. Nothing else to say, honestly. Then we have a huge change in midfield. I think we should give rest to Bernardo Silva, and I think we should be trying this midfield. We should be trying Arda Güler, Valverde, and Jude Bellingham. Of course, this can be switched out. This can be done like this. What just happened? Arda Güler became English for a second. Fair enough. But Bellingham could be playing in the 8. He could be playing in the 10. We could also be seeing maybe a Tchouaméni return, which he's still listed as an injured player, but I think he's getting a lot better. But I think Arda Güler, if he was playing like this, a little bit here, and Fede Valverde or slotting in for Trent sometimes, and he would be inverting into the midfield, it could be working out with a Arda Güler and Valverde double pivot. A little bit better than with Bernardo Silva, actually, because I think Arda Güler was a little bit off the game, I would say, in the first half. And second half, yes, he did have some nice touches, but when we're really not looking for Arda, and he's not in the middle, he's going to be out of the game on the right side. That's why I want Yan Diomande in this game. I think perfect game. Honestly, you have an easy opponent on paper, of course, in Malaga. The same goes for Trent and Diomande. I think both of them need to have those minutes there. And, you know, why not show yourself against Malaga? Because if you can't do it against Malaga, then I'm going to say, like, well, maybe they should be kept on the bench and be given a little bit more time on the bench as well. Maybe they need more sharpness. Maybe they need more confidence. Fair enough. But I think if there is a game to start them, it is this game. Of course, self-explanatory, Jude Bellingham has to start, our best player, the most important player in this team. The work rate, absolutely sensational. Vinicius is there because he has to be there. For me, it's a 50-50 if I would actually be starting him if I was the manager, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He did score such an easy goal, fair enough, but he did have that nice assist to Kylian Mbappe. Overall game was still kind of poor, if we're going to be completely honest. I still would like to see just beat his man a little bit more, just be a little bit quicker, be sharper, you know, just hype up the fans like you used to do. Beat your man, not lose the ball and then hype the fans. We have to be seeing a little bit more improvements in your dribbling and your 1v1s. Let's be honest, that's your best ability and you're not really showing it. You know, I don't know if it's confidence or anything. You got the goal, you got the assist. That is the confidence boost that's everybody talking about. So you should be doing much better in the next game, especially against Malaga. And I'm expecting a lot from Vinicius in this game, if I'm going to be completely honest. Because when I watched Malaga against Atletico, I really wasn't surprised with their fullbacks, if I'm going to be completely honest. I think they looked stiff. I thought they were out of position a lot. The spatial awareness just wasn't there. So Vinny and Diomande, that's why I have them starting. Both good on the ball, both good in 1v1s, if they are on it, of course. And then Kylian Mbappe up front, the best finisher in this team. Probably the best player overall, but I still think Jude is more important for this team. But if you just play like you did against Real Sociedad, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't care if people cook you for your positioning or this and that for missing chances. That second half is just sensational, honestly, man. Like, those finishes, oh my goodness, even in the first half, that left-footed finish, you have that chip over the keeper, and that 1-2 with Jude Bellingham, and just slots it right there over the keeper's foot. That's a striker's finish, you know. I know Kylian Mbappe's positioning and sometimes not dropping deep, not making runs, his decision-making can be flawed, definitely, especially for Real Madrid in the 9. But if he plays simple and uses his abilities, his best abilities, to his advantage, because sometimes he doesn't use his pace as much as I would like to see. For example, against Espanyol, he dropped in too much. He wasn't making runs behind the defense. He wasn't like splitting the defense enough. He wasn't, and his finishing, by the way, it wasn't that good, if we're being completely honest. He's still missing chances, and when you look at when he actually locks in, his finishing is just immaculate, honestly. Like, I don't have anything to say about Kylian Mbappe in the second half. He made almost every single decision was right. It was for the team. He was making runs. He was dropping in there. He was, picking up the ball from the midfielders. He was leaving Jude actually in the box and picking the ball off Jude in that 1-2. Which is just so good. People always say that Mbappe and Jude, they cancel each other out a lot because Jude wants to be there, He wants to be there. He wants to play off wingers and he wants to be in the center of everything. But if Kylian Mbappe sometimes just does this or does this and leaves Jude in the box, passes it to him, and if Jude decides to finish or switch it to the wingers, or like we saw against Real Sociedad, give it back to Kylian Mbappe and then he can shoot, it's a huge advantage. And why I have Arda Güler starting in the number 8 is because I want to see more balls and more chances created to be given to the wingers, especially if Yan Diomande is there. Because when we saw Dumfries, of course, play instead of Trent, we saw a lot of, Arda Güler being on the right. Don't focus on Diomande too much there, because Bernardo Silva was there, of course. We saw a lot of Arda Güler just pointing himself into the middle a little bit, and then Dumfries basically being the only player that occupied the spaces on the right side, which, fair enough, in some games it could be a really good option, and he's of course used to it from Inter, but I would just like to see a little bit more of, Jude Bellingham is there, Arda Güler can be here, Fede Valverde can be right here, Trent can just be a little bit more up there, Cucurella right here, and we can just be pushing up the pitch, and we can basically have 2 10s Yan Diomande and Vinicius making those runs. And if we need Trent to be covered by somebody, it needs to be Fede Valverde, and Jude Bellingham needs to slot in as a box-to-box midfielder, or Arda Güler needs to help here. And of course, this is a very high, hypothetical if this is actually going to work. But if we have this creativity on the right side with Arda Güler and Trent and Fede Valverde covering for Trent, it could be a really good game. That's why I want to see sometimes when Arda is switching with Jude Bellingham staying, in the middle actually. Sometimes it's just gonna be better for the team. So hopefully we see that, and hopefully we see another midfield, not just the same midfield with Jude Bellingham, Valverde, and Bernardo Silva. Is Mourinho actually gonna change it? I'm gonna leave that up to you guys in the comments, because I don't know, honestly, guys. I don't know. Hopefully he does, but he might just be going with the same team until it works, because why fix something that's not broken? So yeah, but I would like to see this team, honestly. I would like to see Diomande start, especially, and Cucurella with Trent as the fullbacks. Now, my final scoreline prediction is gonna be Madrid 4, Malaga 1. As I said, I think, Malaga can do something against us, and I do think that we will once again concede, because sometimes we just have a lack of judgment, we have a lack of just urgency, the spatial awareness sometimes just isn't there. I think we will somehow just concede. We don't really keep clean sheets. I have just, I'm okay with that. If we're gonna win games without clean sheets, please do that. I would like to keep a clean sheet, but I'm just going to be realistic. I think scoring 4 goals against Malaga is completely realistic, especially at the Santiago Bernabeu, and especially if we put up this front line with Jude and Arda, being those number 10s and switching with each other in the midfield, and you have a creative outlet in Trent as well as a right back. So I'm expecting a lot of goals. My man of the match prediction for this game is gonna be Yan Diomande if he actually starts. So let's see how I do. Let's see if I cook with the prediction. And of course, you need to give your prediction down below. And when you're down there, please subscribe and like the video as well if you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Peace out. Madrid, cook Malaga. And Isco, my bad. I'm sorry, bro. Peace out.